One day, whether you like it or not, you're going to get a front row seat to your own mortality. Maybe it'll come in a quiet moment of reflection, or maybe it'll hit you like a freight train. But at some point, you'll have to face the question of what was it all for? Was it for the titles, the money, the applause? Or was it for the moments you didn't realize were happening, the laughs, the hugs, the quiet sunsets you were too busy to notice? Look, I'm not saying ambition is bad. Ambition is what makes life exciting, what keeps us moving forward. But when ambition becomes the master instead of the servant, when it's driven by the need to prove your worth rather than express it, that's when you lose sight of what really matters. Desire is not bad. I know there's a lot of traditions that speak against desire. Desire is not the part that needs to be questioned. What needs to be questioned is, where is the desire coming from? Who's desiring? See, when you're desiring from your true self, your whole self, your complete self, then it's just a divine expression of what life wants to do through you, what life wants to experience through you, because you are divine intelligence having a conscious experience of itself. It wants to experience. We created this world to experience it. But when that desire is driven by that sense of inadequacy, that's when you've missed the mark. That is when the chaos occurs. That's why success can feel empty, because you keep chasing things that you don't need. It becomes a bottomless pit. You hit one goal and it feels great for a second, and then you go right back to feeling the inadequacy you've always felt. So do you even know why you want what you want, or is it just following a script someone else handed to you? Most people walking around right now have no idea why they want what they want. It was marketed to them. You don't believe me? Go watch the series called, what is it called? Century of the Self by Edward Bernays. Century of the Self. Edward Bernays was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud, we all know from the psychology world, but Edward Bernays specifically took his research and created it into a marketing curriculum on how to get big brands and big companies to get people to buy shit they don't need. See, way back then, people bought things for utility. They bought things. That's why, things lasted for so long. And we hear things and we say things like, oh, wow, they just don't make things like they used to. Yeah, they don't, because the goal is to get you to buy more and more shit. So he took that research and figured out how to tap into your sense of inadequacy so they could sell you more shit. Go watch the video for yourself. Your sense of inadequacy is the power. It's the battery that powers the world's economy. So do you really want what you say you want? Or were you told to want that? That Mercedes, is that what you really desire? Or is that what you told you needed to have in order to be a success or to come across a success, to solve that sense of inadequacy? Do you really need that purse? I'm not saying don't have it, but where is the desire coming from? Is it coming from your whole self or your incomplete self, and you thinking that this thing can complete you? How much of your life has been spent chasing the dream that was sold to you? The house, the car, the income. Was it your dream or was it marketing? Here's the truth that'll slap you awake if you let it. The world doesn't care about your happiness. It cares about your consumption. It cares about keeping you striving, buying, and achieving, because that's how it survives. But you're not here to survive. You're here to live. And living is in the everyday moments. Living is spending that time with your kid, sitting there drinking the cup of coffee, living in the present moment. Living is taking a shit and being present that you're taking a shit and not scrolling on your phone. The present moment is where life is. Everything else is a distraction. And I'm not telling you not to scroll on your phone. I'm not telling you you shouldn't do these things and watch TV. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that all of that are distractions from real life, which is the present moment. I was watching this show called The Umbrella Academy. See, I watch TV too, but I watch it consciously. I like to look for things. But I was watching this show called The Umbrella Academy, and there's a specific moment where Klaus, the brother who can see the dead and talk to the dead, his dead brother, Ben, wanted to possess Klaus's real body. And so Klaus gave him some ground rules, and Klaus said, okay, you can possess my body. So when Ben possessed it, I don't even know if that's a real word, but when Ben possessed Klaus' body, you should have seen his reverence for the smallest things, like putting his feet in dirt, smelling a flower, biting into an orange. It was amazing because Ben had been dead for 17 years in the show. But when he had those few moments to experience physical life again, he just relished in the smallest things, the things that we take for granted, like the sound of a bird, the warmth of the grass, the laughter of our children, things that we experience every single day, but we take for granted and say, I want a better life than this. I once heard Michael Neal say that no matter where you go, you're going to be standing up, sitting down, or laying down. When you're eating, you're going to be sitting down or standing up or laying down. When you're sleeping, when you're talking, when you're associating, no matter what environment you're in, no matter what, you're going to be doing one of those three things. It's just, where are you doing those three things? Are you doing it in Imagine, or are you doing it on a park bench? Are you doing it in a restaurant, or are you doing it at home? Same function, but the scenes change. Quit mistaking all the materialistic and the status and the power and all of that for life. That's not life. That's the game. I used to sit down with seniors and ask them about life. People in their fourth quarter who've lived the games that we're playing now. And do you know what they've said? It wasn't, I wish I made more money, or I wish I'd worked more hours. It was things like, I wish I had spent more time with my family. I wish I hadn't cared so much about what other people thought of me. I wish I'd allow myself to be happier. They tell me how they were so focused on getting to the next goal that they forgot to enjoy the ride. And when they finally arrived, the high lasted 5 minutes before the emptiness set in. They'd look back and realize the journey was the point all along. You know, there's this parable or this story that I would give about imagine you're getting on a bus from California to New York. And you're just so excited about getting to New York because all the things that you pictured about New York, all the things that you would do in New York, all the ways you would feel in New York. And so you get on the bus in California and you take a sleeping pill. Because you're just so excited to get to New York. That's all you want to do is get to New York. So you take a sleeping pill all the way from California to New York. And when you get there and you step off the bus, you're so excited. And that high, that adrenaline rush from finally realizing that dream of getting to where you wanted to be is actualized. But then after a while, you get used to it. The high goes away. And you start saying things like, fuck, it's crowded here. Why does it smell like piss? And what is up with all these rats? And you start complaining to someone about what your time is like in New York. And they say, well, where are you from? And you say, California. And they say, well, how did you get here? And they said, I took the bus. And they say, well, how was the bus ride? And you said, I don't remember it because I took a sleeping pill. And they said, wait a minute, you didn't see the Grand Canyon? You didn't see Chicago? You didn't see the rolling hills of Iowa? You didn't see all these beautiful things, these landmarks? And you're like, no, I just wanted to get to New York. And now I'm realizing that I missed it. The actual thing that I was supposed to enjoy was the journey. The experience of the ride itself. And this was a one-way ticket. And I missed the whole ride. That's what these elders are talking about. See, it's easy for us in our 40s and 50s and 30s and people that can say, well, this is what makes life meaningful. Ask the people in fourth quarter. Ask the people with 2 minutes left in the game, in their 80s, in their 90s. Ask them at the end of life what really matters. Is it the things you accomplished? Was it the accolades? Or was it the little moments? It's remarkable what the elders figured out, isn't it? After decades of striving, building, achieving, and chasing dreams, they come to the same realization. None of it ever mattered as much as they thought it did. The accolades, the milestones, the external markers of success, they were all distractions from what was truly important. The relationships they built, the love they gave, and the peace they found within themselves. How many more stories, movies, or interviews do you need to hear before it clicks for you? How many more cautionary tales of people climbing to the top only to realize that the mountain was empty? What if you borrowed wisdom from your future self today and rewrote the rules now? Imagine the quality of life you could create if you didn't have to wait until your fourth quarter of life to figure it out. And if we're keeping it real, and if we're keeping it all the way 100, that's assuming you'll make it to the fourth quarter. I know that's tough to hear, but you and I both know it's true. What if you chose to make peace and emotional freedom your priority now? Or let me elaborate. What if you chose to remember who you are now. Because the truth is, death is certain but unpredictable. This isn't about giving up ambition. It's about questioning why you want what you want and whether the rules that you've set are serving you or making your life harder. Are you really striving for what matters to you, or have you bought into someone else's versions of success? Borrowing from the wisdom of those who've walked the road before you, you can choose to make it easy to feel fulfilled and stop putting the game of life on hard. See, but your ego doesn't want to hear this. It's addicted to the chase. It feeds on the next goal, the next accomplishment, the next validation. And as long as you're striving for that next hit, you'll never experience the peace that's already there. Your ego wants you to believe that peace is something you have to earn. The truth is, the world doesn't care about your rules. It doesn't care about how many degrees you've earned, how many awards you've collected, or how much wealth you amassed. The world will keep moving forward indifferent of your achievements. And that's not a bad thing. It's actually freeing. This is what it means to be in the world but not of it. When you build your life around external validation, you tether your worth to the world that isn't designed to fulfill you. But when you untether, when you decide that the value comes from within and not from what you do or how others perceive you, you stop making the game harder than it needs to be. Being in the world and not of it means defining success on your own terms. It's choosing to live by your own rules, not society's, not your family's, not the ones you wrote as a scared child trying to survive. It's recognizing that peace and freedom are already available to you, but you have to stop chasing the world's approval to access them. The irony is, when you do this, you actually show up in the world with more power, more love, and more clarity, because now you're playing by your own rules. Let me state that a different way. When you wake up to who you really are, all of that shit goes out the window. And when all of that shit goes out the window, all that chasing and all that striving to play a game that other people invented, you're not even living your life. You're living a life that they invented, someone else invented. And when you stop living that life and start remembering who you are and living your life, you actually show up with more power, more love, and more clarity, and become more attractive than you've ever been before. Peace is your natural state. The only thing keeping you from it is the idea that you have to keep running to find it. It's time to remember who you are before the world got its hands on you. You want to go deeper? Like, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you in the next video.